Let's go across to our guest joining us. Garga Chatterjee is a political analyst, leans towards the TMC. Deshratan Nigam is political analyst, leans towards the BJP, also joining us. Garga, there are indeed extremely problematic issues as far as this case is concerned. And clearly the panel report has now recommended expulsion is something that has come out in the public domain. Do you see any way that Mahua Moitra is going to be able to get out of this hole that she's dug for herself?
First of all, let me be very clear. It's leaning towards no party, but because I will speak on facts, right? So facts are not partisan, facts are facts. Number one, in this tenure of this Lok Sabha, multiple opposition members have been suspended, etc. Right? Opposition members only. So bad behavior, this behavior, that, etc., happens to, somehow the Lok Sabha Speaker, who is the final judge on these issues, seems to find in opposition members only, which is okay. That's his discretion. Okay, that's the law, so that's discretion. Number two, this panel has called for a probe, right? So they need investigation. Okay. In fact, there is this Jharkhandi called Mr. Dubey, who I think also has called for CBI, has lodged some thing. And
yes, Mr. Nishikant Dubey, the BJP MP who had lodged the initial complaint against Mahua Moitra, has at least on record yesterday said that Lokpal has recommended a CBI inquiry. CBI comes under the Lokpal, so Lokpal has recommended a CBI inquiry. But this panel has also recommended a government probe.
Especially, right. So what is interesting is the facts of the case, whatever they may be, have still to come out. So which is very interesting that...
But there are certain facts of the case, Garga. No, I'm sorry, you're very conveniently missing out the fact that Mahua Moitra has come out in public domain and accepted certain facts of the entire episode.
I will come to it. It is
please get to it quickly. I don't have a lot of time.
No. Number two, so the probe has started probably, not completed clearly, but the judgment has been given, which is strange. Number three, what has Mahua Moitra accepted, which may be considered as unethical behavior, that is using credentials, these login, etc. She is not using the login. Somebody else, authorized, unauthorized by, authorized by her, whatever. But what is important is were they authorized to the and notified to the Lok Sabha Secretariat. It does not matter if Mahua Moitra personally authorizes.
No, it does matter.
But then there, exactly. But Ministry of Home Affairs has given all the details of the logins and the IPs. Problem is this is available to the issue is that it is available to the MHA. Click the single click they can get all the information. If Mahua Moitra is guilty on that question, let us find out all the logins of all the MPs.
Why all the MPs?
This is unethical behavior. Why are people shying
away
from that?
You don't probe everybody of a crime just because one person has been found guilty of a crime.
No, of course we do, because the issue is propriety, right?
There is no there is no jurisprudence under which you can subject everybody to an investigation just because one person has been found guilty of a, in this case, an impropriety.
You can, if your objective is to find how far this so-called unethical behavior is, and if you don't want to do it, if you want to hush it up, that is fine.
No, in all of your, Garga, you've spoken for, I think, roughly 3 to 4 minutes. In all of this, you have escaped the question that I asked you. How is Mahua Moitra going to escape her expulsion? She will
be expelled.
She will be expelled. But you are somehow seemingly suggesting that it is unfair.
100%.
You are seemingly suggesting that it is unfair. Have I got that correct?
I am suggesting that the standards are different for number one, opposition and non-opposition people. And number two, people who might also be guilty if this is a crime.
Might
There is a
also,
cover up
that
of those.
argument I'm not going to take forward because it's fruitless.
You don't
But
have to
as
take forward. The people can
okay,
take
you
forward
made your
because they
point, but
have
I'm not going to
intelligence
extend that
themselves.
to our
You
other
cannot
guests.
dictate intelligence of the people just by
Okay,
saying,
fair
I'm not
enough,
here to
fair
convince
enough.
you.
Let the intelligent
I'm not
people
here to
decipher
convince
if
you, by the way.
everybody should
You are an
be
anchor.
subjected to an investigation just because one person has been found guilty of an impropriety. Let intelligent people decipher that. Shazia Ilmi of the BJP, Kapil Madan, political analyst leaning towards the Congress, is also joining us. Shazia, please address that issue. Garga Chatterjee is saying, you look at the suspensions that have happened as far as this tenure of the government is concerned, all of them are opposition MPs. You look at this case, you are not really interested in figuring out whether this is a practice that is widespread. You have only caught Mahua Moitra and you are only penalizing her.
And how exactly does this all pan out? It started because of a complaint made by somebody who was a friend of hers, a close friend of hers and an associate, who actually made these charges, who had nothing to do with BJP, who actually happened to be a close friend of Mahua Moitra. Now, the law is very clear on this, but going beyond law, I mean, it depends on which side of ethics, morality, or propriety you're on. Now, the fact of the matter is that you give, as a member of parliament, you allow not your staffer and not on your watch, under your supervision, but you give your login credentials and password to somebody called Darshan Hiranandani, something he has stated in great detail in the affidavit that he submitted. And not just that, you give this to him not once, not twice, but 47 times. Now, he's not a part of your secretariat, he's not part of your office or staff. He also has conflict of interest. If you see the data collection and data localization query made by Mahua Moitra, Darshan Hiranandani is a vested in party, is an interested party. Not just that, there are a lot of people who are whistleblowers, and Mahua Moitra will make it out to be about a fight against corruption. But there are a lot of people out there, members of parliament and journalists, who speak against a corporate house, but at the behest of another corporate house. So this is something that has to be looked into.
Okay,
so
whether you are Shazia,
no, let me finish.
I'll just add one thing, then you continue. My point is that whether you have an axe to grind against a corporate house and you're bringing out certain facets about their work or their proceedings which are unsavory, whether that comes from a competitor, whether it comes from another vested interest, that's frankly, not anybody's query here. Obviously, there will be vested interests.
But the means, agreed, I agree with you.
But in this case, it is purely about whether a parliamentarian, one, is guilty of sharing confidential details by virtue of sharing their login and password. And secondly, which is the more important question or the more serious question here, whether there was any quid pro quo involved. In this panel, it was not the mandate of the panel. The panel cannot do this. But so they haven't quite established quid pro quo.
Agreed, which is exactly what the ethics panel has done, which is exactly what this report is suggesting, that it was improper and unethical of a member of parliament to give her login ID and password, and not just that, the process that it entails, which involves giving your OTP. So it means under the full watch and supervision of Mahua Moitra, the password of parliamentary login was shared not to a staffer, not to somebody who's part of a secretariat, but to a businessman outside of India. And that itself has been found unethical. The quid pro quo and all those charges will be taken up later on when the CBI investigates into the matter about the parties, whether how interested is that party, whether there is a conflict of interest. What do all the gifts mean? Were they done in lieu of the information given, which became staple diet of the questions asked by Mahua Moitra.
Okay, but
so Mahua Moitra is making it out to be being a woman. Being a woman doesn't help. Being of a certain gender doesn't give you any immunity.
No, absolutely.
Laws the same
Gender has nothing to do with this, and there's going to be no.
But the whole thing of I found it very disdainful. How it's all about Draupadi ka Cheer Haran. I mean, the same questions would be asked of a man, transgender, male, female gender doesn't matter. Law is very clear on that. So let's not make it about her being a woman. Let's also not make it about her taking on a certain business house because she's speaking for another business house. That can be a counter argument.
That's an allegation.
So it doesn't really hold.
Even that allegation hasn't really been proven.
Exactly. But what she's also saying is also an allegation, because the fact of the matter is the party she represents, TMC, has a huge port, Tajpur port, which has been done with the handshake of which has been done between Mamata Banerjee and Adani.
Okay,
So
I
when
don't want
she's
to get into the
blaming
politics of the whole Adani, thing, because it will open up a lot of things.